Welcome to Don't Fear the Weight podcast with your host Vicky Mirceta, bringing together science and personal experience.
Hi guys, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Don't Fear the Weight podcast. I am your host Vicky Mirceta as always, and in for you today I have a great Olympian guest by the name of Nile Wilson. Hey Nile, how are you?
Hi Vicky, I'm very well, thank you. Very good.
Good. So Nile, just to obviously start off with, for people who have been living under a rock and weren't following the Olympics whatsoever, why don't you just give us a bit of a rundown of who you are, what your background is, and why you're special enough to come onto the Don't Fear the Weight podcast?
Yeah, so my name's Niall, I'm from Leeds. I started gymnastics at the age of 4 years old, began my journey to the Olympics. I suppose back then I didn't know I wanted to be an Olympian. I just knew I loved gymnastics, and the reason I got into it is because I was very clumsy. I'd split my head open 3 or 4 times, so my parents took me to teach me some awareness, and then just picked it up, absolutely loved it. And last year I went to the Rio Olympics and came home with the bronze medal on the high bar, which was absolutely incredible, and it's been across an amazing 15-year journey. So yeah, that's kind of this stage of my life right now, coming home an Olympic medalist at 21 years old, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal as well. So looking at that then, just I'll come back to all of your Olympic stuff later on down the line, but it was interesting that you said that you got into gymnastics by being a bit of a klutz and splitting your head open and things. So what actually inspired you to carry on gymnastics, and what made you fall in love with it so much, considering it was just something to do to create a little bit more spatial awareness for you?
The sport itself is very, very unique. I think getting into it, I'll talk a little bit more about why I believe it is the best thing to get into as a young child. But when I joined, I loved flying through the air. I loved, being able to learn these tricks and the things you overcome every day, the discipline of it, the hard work, the overcoming fear. But I was almost obsessed with this whole improving and being able to learn new tricks. You got to imagine there's 6 apparatus and hundreds of skills that you can learn. So it's not just having, like you're swimming, you're cycling. It's not just one thing you repeat every day. There's so much you can do in gymnastics. And I think the fact that it's so unique and, obviously not to a very high level, everyone can run, everyone can swim, everyone can cycle, not taking anything away from that, but not everyone can do what we do. So that's why I love it so much, and I fell in love with the sport at a very young age.
Definitely. So when we were talking about creating spatial awareness, why is that good in gymnastics, or how is that good in gymnastics?
Well, obviously the things we're doing with the body is probably not designed to do, and the everything that goes along with it, you need incredible spatial awareness. Somersaulting for every apparatus really, but the main one is the somersaults, the twists. I'm doing now double somersaults with multiple twists, particularly on nearly every single apparatus. So that was, my parents got me into that just for the very basics, the coordination, not knowing that I would reach this level. But I think the key thing, and I'll probably say it a lot in this podcast, in this episode, it was my passion, and I found my passion at a very young age. And the fact that I loved it and I wanted to go every day was, I believe, the main reason I've reached this level. There's many gymnasts I see, because as well it is challenging. I've been doing 20 hours a week from the age of sort of 9-10 years old. Yeah. So it's hard to say to a 10-year-old, you've got to do all these hours, all this training, and pain. A lot of pain comes along with it. Particularly the strength work, the conditioning, your hands bleed, all that thing. But it is challenging to tell a 10-year-old you've got to do that. But I think the desire that I wanted to improve and what I wanted to achieve was so strong, and none of that kind of really mattered to me. I just wanted to go to the gym every day.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds quite hard. You're putting your blood, sweat and tears into it, literally, every single day. Exactly. So did you miss out on quite a lot of your childhood there? I wouldn't say really like your childhood as such, because you're still quite a young athlete anyway, aren't you? But how did you deal with the pressure that was put on you from a very young age, knowing that obviously somebody had seen you and picked up on the fact that you were very talented?
I think that going to the sort of missing out, I think sacrifice is probably one of the biggest things in elite sport, and you have to be willing to sacrifice. And like I say, from the age of 10, 11, 12, My schedule was school all day, then training 9 till 5 every single Monday to Friday. So yes, the answer is I had to sacrifice so much from that young age. But, I think that's where the support of the family came through, and the support of everyone around you, your friends. They were supportive of me all the way, and my family took me to the gym every night. They persuaded it, and I think their motivation was getting to this point that I am now. Sort of, they wouldn't want to look back and me to say, "Why didn't you take me to the gym? I wish I'd have sacrificed more. I wish I'd have missed those parties. I'd have missed that." Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of that's what you go through, the whole journey. But in terms of the pressure, it didn't really come upon me until I was maybe the age of sort of 15, 16. And that was when I was training for my first major championships, which was the Junior Europeans. And that comp was, the first in an arena, the first very, very high pressure environment. We'd won the team competition the last 2 years in a row. So it was our job, we had high pressure going into that event. I suppose I always reverted back to focus on why I'm doing it, and that's because I love it so much. And I think the more experience you have over the years, the more experience competing, you learn how to deal with that pressure. Everyone deals it in different ways, and I've kind of come up with my own sort of solution or whatever you want to call it to how I handle them moments. And obviously the Olympic final was the biggest pressure environment I've ever experienced, and it fills you with confidence, experiencing that and getting through it. I performed in the Olympic final when the pressure couldn't have been higher, so it gives me confidence moving forward that I can do that again, and I can do that every time.
Absolutely.
But it's something you learn over time, definitely.
Yeah, and your regional and national competitions now are nothing compared to your Olympics, aren't they?
I suppose. I mean, I get nervous every competition, whether it's the Olympic final or one in my own club for recreational. And I did a Christmas competition last year, and I got just as nervous. So that's important as well. And the first thing my parents used to say to me, and the first thing we spoke about was, my dad says, "Did you enjoy that, mate?" And that's the first question I get asked, whether it is the Christmas competition at Leeds or it is the Olympic final. And I always say, yeah, I enjoyed that. That was all right, yeah.
And that's how you deal with the pressure. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's good fun. You soak it up. You try and remember my breathing, stay calm, and just imagine I'm in Leeds Gymnastics Club. I'm just doing what I do every single day, and focus on smiling, having fun. That's kind of how I get through it, and it seems to work.
That's a great way to look at it as well. What I really like about everything that you've just said regarding the inspiration to carry on with gymnastics and the pressure and how you deal with it. I'm a bodybuilder, and a lot of people who listen to this podcast are bodybuilders themselves, and they have to do everything that you've just said, like the sacrifice and the hands bleeding and things like that, and it's because they're dedicated to the sport and that they absolutely love it. Now, when we walk on stage as bodybuilders, obviously we're half naked as well.
Yeah.
So have you got a couple of tips on that you can give us for people who are going to walk on stage, maybe as first timers, on how to deal with the pressure?
I think what I've sort of touched upon is challenging. I think it is okay to be very, very nervous and scared and anxious and how you feel. I think it's how you deal with that then gets you through the thing. And I think preparation is very important for me. If I'm going into a competition and I know I'm fully 100% prepared, I've done everything possible, that's when I can just relax and say, you know what, I'm just going to focus on being the best I can be right here, right now. And I think that's one thing to focus on instead of daunting on the things you can't control. What's this? What's that? Just focus on you and focus on being, when you walk on that stage half naked, you believe you've done everything you can do to get in the best physical shape possible, and just suck it up and be the best you can be. And I think your self-talk is very important. So I've learned a lot over the years and kind of got into the deep roots of my self-talk, particularly recently, and learned kind of that's very much drives your performance. So deep root from your thoughts and what you're thinking, and it's easy in an environment like that when it's high pressure or it's your first bodybuilding competition to be very negative. What if they don't like me? What if I'm not lean enough? What if they're better? What if I'm scared? And I I very much focus on when I'm in that environment to be positive. You know, I can do this. I'm going to smash it. I look the best. I'm the best, and I guarantee it 100% works. You know, deep root from your thoughts, it affects your behaviour and your performance every single time. And I think focusing on that, the first time, how having the awareness of what your self-talk is and what you are telling yourself every single day, not just in that environment. I think the stat is something people speak to themselves 50,000 times a day, or you know, that's just your thoughts going on in your head. So you imagine if even 50% of them are all negative, you know, how is that going to affect your performance? But yeah, I hope those tips kind of helped, and just positive, prepared, and just enjoy it, smile, just go for it.
Yeah, that's it. Just go out, strut, and smile as best you can. That's it. Okay, cool. So let's delve in a little bit more into your nutrition and your training then, because that is predominantly what we all do day in, day out, isn't it? So with your nutrition, obviously you're not going up there to look good naked. You're there to perform. Yeah. So what kind of nutritional tools do you use? Do you use a bit more of an intuitive approach to your nutrition, or do you just kind of eat what you want?
I think the point where I really decided to take my nutrition seriously, I was 15 years old. And before that, completely honestly, ate what I want. And knowing what I know now, it was very bad. I wasn't a bad gymnast, but, you know, we would do at least 3 takeaways a week. You know, I trained till 9 o'clock. We'd go on the way home. We'd stop at fish and chips, or there were McDonald's on the way home, and it'd just be easy. Do you know what I mean? Late at night, and I had chocolate, everything. I did not know a thing about nutrition, and so I saw a nutritionist who we still work with now at 15 years old, and I think at the time I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to give this a go. I'm just going to listen to what she says, try to take some things on board, and the results that I got so quickly, literally within week, 2 weeks. You got to imagine we're doing 4 to 6 hours training a day, and this isn't about for us what we weigh, you know, being fat, being overweight. It's literally to do with performance. And the way I felt just after 1 week of eating good, you know, I'd probably shedded some fat because what I was eating was very, very high in fat. I felt stronger. I felt more energized. That's just after 1 week of just changing very, very simple things. That point, I realized how important nutrition was. And you touched upon it there. We don't have to be 3% body fat. We don't have to look amazing on stage. We just have to do the best gymnastics we possibly can. Now, the way I personally do that is I don't count macros. I don't follow calories. I've kind of learned what my body needs and where I feel the best, and I think it's more a feeling. I try to stay away from the scales a little bit, because sometimes that can psychologically be challenging, particularly in gymnastics. I'm throwing my body around all day, every day. So our body weights do affect the way we feel, and I think you learn over the years what's the ideal weight for you, where you feel good, what weight you feel strong at. And typically I'm between sort of 64 and 67 kilograms, and I have been for the last sort of 3 years. Whereas in bodybuilding, you might fluctuate 10 or 15 kilos and cut and bulk, etc. I know quite a bit about it, actually. I'm quite a bit of quite passionate about it, actually. I've followed it quite a while, and it's something that I do want to get into potentially after my career, 100%. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't count it, I don't follow it, and I think I know exactly how much I need. The typical diet is high in protein, high in sort of micronutrients, and I don't eat too much carbs.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's quite. I mean, I would sort of breakfast, lunch, and then maybe after the second session, it's kind of more just protein and macros, and at the same time, I enjoy myself. I think you guys know what it's like when you're cutting for a comp and a show, how psychologically challenging it is. So I try not to go so long eating very, very clean, because, you know, you can set up that I've been in situations where I do binge eat and I overeat just through sort of because I've eaten so good for so long and my body fat's dropped so low with the amount of training I'm doing. So what works for me is I try and, with the treats, I have little and often. I try to have something that every day to kind of just kill that craving, and just because, like I said, it's about our performance, and I've got to go to the Olympics or go to the gym every day and perform gymnastic skills. I've not got to look a certain way. I've not to, it's more how I feel. And so that's kind of an insight to my sort of philosophy on nutrition. But yeah, it's very, very important. I believe in sport, but particularly in our sport.
Yeah, definitely. I was interested when you said you stay away from carbs quite a lot, but I take it you predominantly put them in and around your training as well. So you have carbs pre and post. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I've not got a very low carb diet. I eat a lot, but I'm not eating hundreds and hundreds of grams of carbs. And I think in particular for us, it's finding the balance of strength to weight ratio, and genuinely, gymnastics is predominantly easier when you're light.
Yeah.
So everyone says when they meet us in person, we look so much smaller. We look tiny compared to what you see on the television. And I think even for me in Britain, we're quite big. If you meet the Japanese guys and particularly the Chinese Japanese, their frames and their body structure, they weigh like 10 kilos less than me, and I'm quite small and light. Yeah. So I think that's very interesting. Yeah. And I think the key thing for us is strength to weight ratio. And I think particularly our training sessions as well, we're in the gym for 6 hours, but it's not, in terms of the amount of carbs we're eating, it's not like an endurance sport, you know what I mean? It's not like we're running for 3 hours straight. Yeah. It's very just fast twitch, explosive power, goes, strength, and it's finding that balance. So we don't actually need hundreds of grams of carbs, and as well we're throwing his body around. So if we eat a full Sunday roast an hour before the gym, when you're flipping and somersaulting round, it's moving around in your stomach. So that's another thing to take into account as well. And particularly when I've been out with injury, I do quite a lot of weight training actually. So it seems the opposite with bodybuilding. Like the more, if I have a cheat day, a massive pizza, I feel like I could leg press more or bench press more. Whereas if I do that with gymnastics, the next day in the gym, I'm like 2 kilos heavier and I can't do anything. So
can't swing around your bar at that point.
yeah, exactly. So it's finding out what works for you, really.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's get into your training then. You were saying that you were doing quite a lot of weights, which is good. So do you do that after your training, or do you have like training days and then like your recovery days? You do some kind of weight training at that point?
We do. I do 1 to 2 weight sessions a week of sort of maintenance. Actually, at the minute when this is being recorded, I have 6 weeks post surgery. I had a snapped ankle ligaments. Yeah. So at the minute, I'm spending every single day in the weights gym doing strength work and then rehabilitation for my ankle. So it's sort of split half and half. Whereas if I was fully fit competing, it would be sort of additional work. So the majority is gymnastics, but what we focus on is very strength based. So sort of the power lifts, the benching, leg pressing, squatting, going as heavy as possible and low. We don't really need to build muscle mass. We don't need to put on extra mass that we don't need. And it's just about that strength to weight. So, at the minute, I'm probably 67 kilograms and I'm benching 110 kilos, wow. Which, the percentages of body weight to what I can press is quite impressive. And that's what we go for, not to kind of go to the gym, do a lot of bicep curls and trying to bulk up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, it'd be addition. So I would sometimes train 5 hours gymnastics, and then on the way home, or if we're away, we'd walk over to the rehab or the weights gym and do an extra hour on top of that. So it's very, at the end of the day, just kind of exhaust those muscles out, get every last sort of energy, everything out of your muscles, and then you recover. Yeah. And again, it's that outside the gym is just important, the nutrition, the recovery, the treatment, the ice, everything like that. But yeah, it's kind of addition, but I believe it has helped me massively, particularly my legs. If you think about landings in gymnastics, we're coming from height, but that's, it's X times body weight, the pressure into the floor, but also years and years of repetition, and it can, the most common injury are probably knees and lower back, ankles, wrists, shoulders in gymnastics. Whereas if you can get really strong legs, not big, but strong quads, strong glutes, and learn the correct landing technique. I had a double stress fracture in my lower back in 2011 when I was 15 years old. So that was a turning point in my career to learn, actually I need really strong legs, I need a strong core, because the impact of these landings, the impact of this sport, it can be damaging for the body if you move the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned your injury there. Obviously, that was quite big news, wasn't it? Because it was coming back off the Olympics, and then you had that terrible injury. Just from a mental perspective, what did you think apart from, oh crap?
Yeah, I think that the key thing to firstly say is it's not the first time I've been in this situation.
Okay.
So I can take up from experience. The first serious injury I had when I was 9 years old, I had a disease in my elbow, which kind of took me out of the sport for nearly 18 months, which, as well as that's very challenging, I believe that was a turning point in my career, because like I told you earlier about, it's hard to tell a 9-year-old he's got to do so much. I had the sport taken away from me, so I then realised how much I love it and how much I wanted to do it. I think every time you go through one of these setbacks and adversity, it reminds you why you love it, and I think that's a very positive point to take forward. And every time I've come back stronger, and I've had more of a desire. So I think that, but there's no hiding it. The reality is, when you find out, when I broke my ankle, when I had the scan, found out I was going to be out for months again, it's devastating. It's very, very devastating. I think this time I handled it probably the best, because I've been through it before. I had wrist surgery back in 2014. I had the stress fractures in my back. Done these. Each time I go through it, I learn a bit more. I know, but I say the reality is you're upset, but I think it's important to then snap out of that as quickly as possible and realise, right, let's use this as an opportunity. Let's figure out areas where I can strengthen that I'm weak. Particularly now it's my upper body. Obviously, I've not been allowed to do much with my ankle, but can I get really strong on rings, pommel horse, parallel bars, high bar? And, just finding the little wins, one step at a time. You've got a mountain to climb, but, my first thing was getting off the crutches, and then walking in the boot. And now today I've spent all morning out of the boot, which is so great for me. I'm walking around at a training session, just in a little ankle strap, which is fantastic. And then now it'll be jogging, running, and then eventually, before you know it, you'll be back doing full gymnastics. So I think it's going to happen. It's inevitable. The setbacks are going to be there, but sort of how you handle that is very sort of make or break. And each time I've come back stronger, and I believe it develops you as a person, not just physically, but what you're having to cope with mentally. It's challenging, and if you can overcome that and smash through it, it's going to make you stronger. Yeah,
definitely. I love that. I've been watching some of your YouTube videos that you're doing with the other guys there. I think it's Thomas Rowley, isn't it? And yeah, and you're doing your challenges and stuff. And what I love so much about it is that you still beat them hands down with a broken ankle, with your foot in a boot, and you can still flip yourself around a bar and do your toe touches up on the parallel bars and things. And I thought those were brilliant. A lot of people, even in lots of different sports, they can sprain their ankle or hurt their wrist or something like that, and then they're out and they're miserable and they're depressed. And what I really wanted to talk to you about today was the fact that you have overcome that adversity, and you've found the positivity from it, because you've come from such a high from the Olympics, and then obviously been hit with a big injury again that's going to set you back. I mean, did you have any goals that you've just kind of had to put on hold because of that injury?
100%. The sort of first batch of competitions of this year, I'm going to have to miss. The British Championships would have been in less than 3 weeks now, which one of my goals was to go there and win, all around, be the British champion, for the senior champion for the first time. And Europeans is in April, which is mega this year. It's an individual year. There's no team events, so a chance for me to really establish myself. So this sort of first half there's a kink in the road. It's going to have to change the plans. But with time frames, I'm thinking, right, I can be back for Worlds at the end of the year. And like you said there, with me doing all this stuff, there's always something you can do. It'd be quite easy for me to have sat at home, eating rubbish, drunk, lots of alcohol, not gone to the gym, and really then I've been set back another 3 or 4 months because I've just completely wasted this time. And I think it is amazing to know what you actually still can do when you've got these little setbacks. I'm still in the gym 4 hours a day at least, doing rehab, doing gymnastics stuff, and people, it's amazing. I get messages daily saying that it's inspiring, and to be able to, the feeling of someone telling me that I inspired them is so amazing and incredible. And I hope that I said straight away, and my self-talk was when I first found out, I want to reach out to those that are going through something similar, because I do know how hard it is. And I think I've certainly achieved that with the likes of my YouTube, with my Instagram posts, and really said, look, it's a bit rubbish, but let's crack on, let's sort it out, let's use it as an opportunity. And it has been fantastic. It's been 6 weeks in surgery, and that's again flown by.
Yeah.
So the next sort of 8 to 12 weeks will fly by. And looking back, in 4 years' time, my goal, 3 now, is to be at the next Olympics. No one will ever then talk about this ankle injury.
No.
And looks back on a professional's career, and anyone, the athletics guys, Jess Ennis, Andy Murray, all these mega guys, you don't look back and say, oh well, she was injured there, she was injured there. You look back and say, she's Olympic champion, she's achieved this, she's achieved that. So it's a very, very short-lived journey, and holding on to that, the future. No one's going to talk about Nile Wilson snapping his ankle in 2017.
No.
And that's onto it and think, right, what am I going to achieve? What are my goals? And let's just go after them.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. No, it's really inspiring actually, you hearing say that. So talking about inspiration then, is there anybody that you have that you aspire to be? Who inspires you in gymnastics, or in any way, in any sport really, or in any part of life?
Oh, it's a tough question. I suppose that a lot of the GB guys who I'm now very, very close friends with and teammates with inspired me, because I think it gives you, particularly Lewis Smith, and he was the one that started this off. I think success breeds success, and it only takes one to give you the belief, actually, we can do this. And, even from the age of 14, I was training in the same gym as Lewis. He was I'm very, very close friends with him now, however, he was so far away for me to even comprehend.
Yeah.
But he won the first Olympic medal in over 100 years for British gymnastics.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's stood there chalking up, swinging around the pommel horse, and I'm in the same gym. Well, why can't I do that? And I believe that whole culture of in Britain now, particularly in gymnastics and every other Olympic sport, because the way each time we're just topping the medal table, we're getting closer and closer to America and beating China, it's just completely crazy. But, giving us that belief, that certainly inspired me, and particularly again in London when I watched the Olympics and we got the team medal and Max stepped up, and I suppose that those are the guys that have inspired me to reach the level I am today, and we're always pushing each other and the environment's incredible. But all major athletes, I look up to Bolt. I've watched his documentary recently, and that was just incredible.
Yeah.
And the thing I took away is he doesn't take life so seriously, and that's what I love about it. He's achieved what he's achieved, but he's just a guy. He's just a normal guy, has a laugh, and I want to emulate that with what I do. I have fun. I love my gymnastics. I'm not so, obviously I'm a professional and we do what we need to do, but we smile every day and we have fun and we have a laugh and enjoy ourselves and have something outside of the sport. And I think that's something I value very much. My family, my friends. At the end of the day, I'm just a normal 21-year-old lad from Leeds that loved sport, but I also got other hobbies and I'm just a normal guy. So, yeah, I suppose if I had to say one answer, it'd be the GB lads, Lewis, Max, Sam, Christian, Dan, who did London.
Yeah, fab. No, I love that. I like how you said that you've actually found the balance in your life, and that I think is really an important message for everybody to take home, that you can be a professional, you can be dedicated to your sport, but you can also have that life with a balance. So, yeah. And that's in every aspect. So like you were saying about your nutrition, if you wanted I don't know, was like cupcakes or whatever like that, because you don't want to binge on the weekend, then that's your balance. And then, you know, dedicating your time to 5-6 hours in the gym, and then going out to the cinema with your family and stuff after that. It's that balance that you've got to be happy with, don't you?
100%. I'm still on the path to finding it. You know, I think you have phases, don't you, in your life where you feel like you have the most overall balance, and now I feel maybe honestly speaking to you now with my nutrition, the balance isn't there with my nutrition. We're going through this injury, and I'm probably eating too much stuff that I shouldn't be. You know, I'm going out on a Saturday night with my mates. I think that's something that I wouldn't be doing if I was training for competitions and I was on it, you know, 100%. But I think, again, the key word is balance. And I feel like I'm my happiest self when I do have it. Yeah. But the challenging thing is finding it. And I think particularly athletes, we have this sort of addictive, obsessive personality. Yeah. And, you know, what it is, whether it's with food or with watching a series on Netflix or... you know, new creators, it's just like all or nothing. And I think me certainly finding balance is very, very important. Yeah.
I mean, even though you're saying that your nutrition isn't on point at the minute and your training isn't on point at the minute, do you think that goes hand in hand with the injury? So not to the fact that obviously your injury has depressed you as such, because it's quite clear that it hasn't. Yeah. You know, you're still in the gym, you're still enjoying yourself, you're still doing your YouTube videos and you're enjoying yourself. But do you subconsciously think that you might see this as an opportunity to see your mates a little bit more on a Saturday night, relax, let your hair down a bit and just chill, before knowing that you've got to get back into it as soon as you're back on both feet?
100%, and I think I'm very good at having that switch. So when it's like, right, Nige, we're eating good, we're losing 2 kilos and we're stopping drinking, I decide that and I do it. You know, I think, you know, sort of tactics don't really work. Yeah. And I believe you just got to decide, and you've got to want to do it. You know, like waiting for Monday morning to start your diet, or waiting for January the 1st, that whole New Year's resolution thing just doesn't work. I think you got to be strong enough to deep down just decide, just say, you know what, Nige, we're not. I can't keep that. That's what my mates call me, Nigel.
I was going to say, I was getting confused.
Sorry. But you know, I think I'm very good at having that switch, and I think you're right. I've got a little bit more time, a little bit of an opportunity to see my friends more, to work on other things. I've kind of dipped my foot in sort of a new business venture, which is very exciting for me, and I've got that time to do it. Cool. Which I'm happy to talk about. And you know, you're right. I'm injured, but I'm you know, don't get me wrong, I'm working very, very hard. I'm still absolutely smashing it, but it might be the time now I can be a little bit more relaxed on my diet. I can maybe have a few vodkas on a Saturday. I'm 21. I'm very good at, right, come this point, I switch it, I decide, right, we're back on it, we're training for Worlds, let's smash it. Again, it's that balance.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, in my world, in the bodybuilding world, I suppose we can call this your off season. Yeah. And then as soon as that off season is back on, you're back on prep and you're back on it 100%, and, you know, all or nothing type of thing.
Are you on off season or are you prepping at the minute?
Oh, I've only just got into prep.
Right.
So, but only like literally like a week. So cool. At the moment, it's all good and it's all rosy and it's all decorated with pretty flowers. But you know, give me 10 weeks, and then that probably all change. But okay, so that's A. So business venture. That's interesting. I was going to ask you about your body Bible. Mm-hmm. You've got that out at the moment, and I have had a bit of a sneak peek into it. And it's all about more conditioning and core work and things like that. Do you want to go in a little bit into the detail of that and why you think it's really beneficial, obviously, for putting it out for a business venture?
Yeah, I'd love to. And I think, first of all, I've been very interested and researched a lot about business sort of the last 2 or 3 years, maybe when I turned 17, 18, and understood very early on that I didn't want to get a job, you know, particularly after my career. And having that in mind, I've always known and believed that gymnastics and gymnastic style training and that body weight functional conditioning is one of the best things for your body. And obviously it's a very conflicting with what you guys do.
Yeah.
It's about, building that body through weightlifting, really, and that sort of hypertrophy sort of style training. But you look at any gymnast across the world, even non-elite, they don't have to be Olympians, don't have to do anything. They're all shredded.
Yeah.
They all have abs, and they're all lean regardless of their nutrition. And I think that's one of the reasons, just purely because I believe that style of training is the best. So my sort of thoughts on that was, right, how can I take this into the fitness world, but then build, a little bit of an exciting platform online for myself, a business venture, but then really just deliver value to gymnasts, but then people like into the fitness who want to get fit, who want to transform the body. And the first sort of the Body Battle first program I've brought out was kind of geared towards teaching a handstand.
Okay.
So not only is it great for your body, the amount of muscles you're using and the circuits that I've developed specifically to learn a handstand, it's also cool to be able to stand upside down on your hands.
Yeah.
It's something that you can do just at home with no equipment at all.
Yeah.
So that was a starting point for me. It's very exciting. There's been quite a lot of interest in it. I get emails every day saying that they really like it. They feel like they're seeing results in the body and the handstand, which is fantastic. I've got little projects I'm working on for the future and really want to build and grow it. But gymnastic style training is the one, and I think there's a massive market out there for it. And yeah, I'm just excited, trying to balance again, but balance it alongside with being a professional athlete and training for the Olympics. But it is very, very exciting.
Okay, cool. And obviously, I'd love to know how to do a handstand. I used to do them years ago, and I used to be quite good at it. But I'm a bit rubbish now, and I don't know whether that's because I'm a bit more bottom heavy than I was back then from all the squats. I don't know. But what I'm really interested about, because I would love to do it, because we do routines on stage and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And I would love to kind of do a straddle lift a handstand as one of my opening routines for my routines. But why do you think, or what can you tell us about the Body Barbell, why that kind of conditioning or functional style training like gymnastics training would actually benefit bodybuilders?
I think one being very importantly like mobility.
Yeah.
So having that mobility of the body to be able to lift bigger weights, I believe, get into better positions, and just generally having that functional movement is so important. I see lots and lots of bodybuilders are just chunky and huge. They can throw massive weights around, but then when it comes to maybe doing a chin up or doing a muscle up or a handstand, it's a completely different story just for the sheer mass they've developed through lifting weights. So I think that side of things, having that more functional movement, having better core strength, not just looking good, feeling like they can move around more. And again, I think you can achieve the results quicker. The guy you mentioned, Thomas Rawlinson, who did a video with me, he's actually preparing for a show.
Yeah.
And now I believe, literally, I know you talked about going into prep, and how long were you prep for? Maybe 12 weeks?
Oh, no, a bit longer than that. I like to do things very slowly.
Right, okay. Tom, who's ex-gymnast, now a coach, massively into his training, into his fitness. He does do weight training as well, just to try and put on some size. But he's already 6-7% body fat, and he mainly is all year round, regardless of his diet, just through the way he trains. And he might need, honestly, I think he could go there, do well, literally prep for 2 weeks, just lean down a little bit more, and I think that's incredible. And I know another gymnast who tried it as well, who did a similar thing, barely needed to prep at all, just literally dieted for 2 weeks, got down a few more percent, and smashed it. So that's where I think this style of training could help bodybuilders and yourself get your results a little bit quicker, and you might not have to do the 50 prep and diet.
That's it.
Yeah, maybe.
Our connection seems to be going a little bit haywire, but it's all good. Don't worry about it. But no, absolutely. So, I would love to obviously have a good go and video. It'd be quite good fun to see me trying to do a handstand before I get on stage this year. It'd be quite embarrassing more than anything else.
But as well, that would be cool, just for bodybuilders to start integrating gymnastics into their routines.
Yeah.
I think certainly something Tom wants to do.
Yeah.
And he'll, imagine the judges. He does like a lift to handstand and a planche and a somersault. It'd
look amazing, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I wouldn't recommend doing somersaults when you're covered in tan. Might go slipping everywhere. Might not be the best thing in the world, but yeah, definitely try and do it. It'd be awesome. And you said yourself you're interested in getting into some kind of bodybuilding. Is that what your main aspiration is after you finish your gymnastics career, or are you going to concentrate more on trying to get a bit more of a body Bible or body Bible type 2 for the future references?
Yeah, I mean, the business is developing, and I think that's very exciting. But me, as personally, I just love training. I can't see myself even retiring from gym. Obviously, I want to be in gymnastics for another 2 Olympic cycles, so another sort of 8 years, 7 or 8 years. But afterwards, there's no way I can see myself just not training again. Do you know what I mean? I think that's something I'm really almost addicted to, training and feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling strong. So bodybuilding's something that I've been interested in for a little while now. But I think, as gymnast frames go, it'd probably take me a year or so to catch my legs up to my upper body.
Yeah.
as we have the skinniest legs, as everyone knows. But, again, that doesn't matter. It's about performance. We've got to lift them, so the lighter they are, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, getting the symmetry right would take a while, but I'm certainly up for it. And I enjoy weight training as well. Just feeling the pump, feeling I've really, really destroyed my muscles. I don't know what it is about it, but I just, I love waking up in the morning feeling like I've been hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Which is quite strange, but there's something that I've always liked, and I think I will get that with bodybuilding, certainly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you certainly will. Yeah, I always feel beat up. I need to have my days off after I go training, so it's all good. But then again, if I come and train with you one day just for a bit of a giggle for a YouTube video and you try and get me to do a straddle lift, a handstand, I'll be feeling a hell of a lot worse than I would do. Yeah.
Using muscles you didn't even know you had.
Exactly, yeah, it's quite scary. Okay, so I know you're really busy. I know you're going to an event tonight as well, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. So if there was one little bit of advice that you can give for anybody out there, not just people in the fitness industry, but just your everyday Joe and Jane, what is it that you would give to them?
I would say goals are very, very important, and something that have got me, everyone has goals, but I think the advice would be to get them on paper. Write down exactly what it is you want to achieve, and if you can't write it down, spend time and think about it. A lot of people, I know a lot of my friends, they live through almost a wake and sleep, just day to day. They can't wait for the weekend, and then when it's Monday morning, they're fed up, So I think knowing exactly where it is you want to go is so powerful, and it's something that I've known I wanted to be an Olympian for a very long time, and you then almost re-engineer your life to I want to go there, so what have I got to do right now to achieve that? And and as soon as it's writing it down is so powerful. As soon as it's on paper, I don't know what it is, but you just get this extra bit more desire. You feel more accountable to yourself. You've written it down on paper. You've said, this is what I'm going to do. So, I think if one bit of advice, I would say to write your goals down and then just get after them. Yeah.
And you did that, didn't you? When did you write down on a piece of paper that you were going to go to the Olympics in 2016?
I actually I cemented it into concrete in that garden when I was 13 years old in 2003, I think it was. That's an incredible story. I think, my dad was decorating the gardening, and he had these 2 little separate spaces. He filled them with concrete, and he put mine and Joanna's handprints in. Yeah. I was 13, and my dad said, what do you want me to write in it? And I said, write Olympic gymnast, because I'm going to Olympics, and that's an incredible story. But I had written down my goals of what I wanted to achieve at the Olympics, and those also came true to literally the word, which was absolutely mind blowing, particularly for myself. And I think you need something emotional to go along with that. You know, I always visualized, emotionalized, you know, seeing what I was going to do almost every day. And I think the brain's so powerful that it can almost not tell the difference between you thinking something in your head and actually it being real. So I believe I lived the Olympics almost every day for years. Yeah. So it was almost, when I got there, it was inevitable that I was going to perform the way, you know, I believed I would in my head. So yeah, the whole goals thing, and it's honestly, I'm sure lots and lots of successful people, I've researched a lot about it, but writing goals down it's one of the biggest things. So if you can take anything away from this, you know, get a bit of paper out after you've listened and write down what you want.
That's it. I'm going to do it now. Niall said I need to write that. So Nige said I need to write that down. That really threw me, that did. But that's really, really cool. All right, so final being then, where can the listeners find out more about you, where they can download your body Bible from, and how they can get better at doing a handstand?
I'd say, you know, follow me on social media. You'll find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. But one of the big ones at the minute I'm working very hard on is my YouTube channel. Okay. And actually today, as we speak, I just reached 100,000 subscribers. Brilliant. Which is absolutely incredible. And, you know, they're sort of more day in the life vlogs, a real insight into what life's like, being a professional gymnast, training for the Olympics. And all little, you know, fun stuff, challenge videos, everything like that. And you can find all the website and the body Bible things on there. So I'd say check my YouTube channel out, and I really appreciate it. Okay,
cool. And I'll put all of the links at the bottom of this podcast as well.
Fantastic.
Okay, so there we are, guys. That was an amazing podcast there from Nile Wilson. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to put all of his details at the bottom of this podcast and on the YouTube channel itself. So if you have any questions for myself or Nile following this conversation, then just put them in the comments below and we'll be happy to get back to you on those. All right. So thanks again, Niall, and I'll catch up. No worries, and I'll catch up with the rest of you guys on next week's episode.